in a world where AI is clearly changing all parts of the marketing ecosystem, a lot of roles are going to change. And I think really what we're really going to witness is what roles gain influence and what roles lose influence. And I think on the losing influence side, I think a lot of the things that we have grown up in this industry having to do, channel optimization, channel planning, that probably becomes will become clearly more automated. And as a result, we're going to need less of that. We're going to need more people, or at least on a percentage basis, more people that are spending time on really finding the consumer insights, understanding the data behind the decisions, being able to be brand builders, be able to be really true consumer insight-led campaign strategists. So I think that's the kind of shifts we're going to see. Clearly, anything which can be automated, we're going to automate, and we should. And so that's going to leave more time and more opportunity for thinking and analysis and decision making. But it will also mean less on the side of day-to-day type optimization things. And so I think we'll see a lot of those types of shifts.
In keeping with that line through about greater emphasis on decision making, agentic AI can even at this point now act, not just analyze. Where should brands trust automation, and where is that human judgment, that human decision making still critical?
Yeah, we're going to find that out over the next several years. There's not a single answer in my mind of where that's going to live. Listen, we've gone through cycles of this type of thing. If you really go back and you look at search at the end of the day, actually allowed for this type of agent type system. Really was the first type of bidder type mentality. You could set your bids and let the system run. Programmatic buying, same type of idea. You could set your parameters and the system would run. Clearly this is that on steroids. And the notion that we're then going to take all humans out of the loop because we can automate it, I don't quite buy. Listen, I totally appreciate we're going to need a lot less people on a lot of parts of this ecosystem, and we should accept that reality and prepare for that change. But I do believe when you're thinking about these large enterprise companies, there's more to it than just, is that particular campaign working? So I'm on the mindset that says, we're going to let agents do a lot, but we're going to find steps in the process where humans are going to have to double check, verify that. Where is that going to be? In some cases, that's going to be measurement driven. Some cases, that will be optimization. I think it's going to depend on the brand and the marketer's perspective of what matters from a compliance, governance, consumer kind of experience perspective. I think the key point, though, is we should expect things will be automated, but we should find places where humans are making sure the system's working. I just don't envision a world anytime soon where we wake up and humans aren't touching the process at all. That doesn't seem likely to me anytime too soon.
Let's dive into a bit more about the topic of making systems work. Particularly wanted to know, Matt, how identity and data strategies are changing when AI systems, not people, are increasingly the primary users of the data.
Yeah, well, listen, I think there's a myth that I believe is beginning to be propagated, which suggests that identity and consumer understanding and consumer insights become less relevant in an agentic world. I actually think the opposite's true, but I think it's fair to say how those decisions are made and who is touching the identity audience discovery problem will change. I think what we have to ultimately look at is where will those decisions be made? I think it's going to be a variety. Absolutely, there needs to be an integration with the scaled LLMs to have an identity underpinning that will service them. They will service answers based on some knowledge of consumers. I think that's going to be a path. Another path, I think you're still going to have brands and media companies working together on an identity perspective. So I think it's a yes and reality. I think the most important thing is the idea that we live in a world where a deep understanding of consumers becomes less relevant. I just don't buy. Yes, we're going to change how we transact in that. We're going to change where the decisions happen. A lot of those decisions will be automated and humans won't touch them. But the idea that we all just want to move to a world where it's just anonymized, agentic decisions with no consumer insights, no ability to understand a person or a household, I don't think that's going to be real.
Matt, I'd love to also get your sense of what this also means for just workflows, particularly as they become more autonomous. How do organizations maintain governance, transparency, and brand control?
Yeah, listen, I think that's the question that we're going to face as an industry in the coming years. That is, to me, the predominant question, and it will be the governor on just how much automation happens. That's the reality situation. And listen, I think it's important to go back and remember, right? Whether you're a TransUnion, which is a company that does many different things, whether you're a large enterprise marketer, what you actually are is you're a producer of some product that does marketing. And that means there's rules and regulations to follow, there's consumer experience to consider, there's the fact that you just have norms in how you operate. And so I think what we're going to find in the years that come is we're going to see the fact that systems will get automated, but each company is going to have a different flavor of where they want to make sure they stick a human-in-the-loop process to make sure the automation is effectively delivering results. And that could be, I think one of the use cases that's most likely is is measurement. I think it's hard to think we're going to be comfortable just saying that the agent created an outcome and we trust it completely. That, for me, feels like a place where, at least for a while, you're going to have a human look at that and go, did we get that right? And by the way, how do you optimize your agents and figure out which decisions are working well and are working less well if you don't have that type of connectivity? So again, I think what I don't want to come across, though, is suggesting that we're not going to automate the heck out of this industry. We are, right? But I think there's going to be a little bit more of a balance than we're talking about, while still recognizing in some circles, I don't know that we understand the impact enough, right? And so it's an interesting dichotomy right now, and anyone that has a firm answer of exactly how this is going to go is predicting the future. That's where we are in this curve.